Am I the asshole for dropping out of the MO role last minute because of an emergency? My best friend Chloe was getting married last Saturday and I was the maid of honor. For 1 year straight I was the main planner for her and did the best that I could to fit the standard she had set for the wedding. I even planned an amazing bachelorette party 1 month before the wedding, and I couldn't do this without the gorgeous bridesmaids as well. 2 days before the wedding my husband had a heart attack and was hospitalized. Doctors said his situation was severe and he was transferred in an ICU. Later doctors told me he needs an emergency open heart surgery the next 24 hours. His situation was very life-threatening and we could lose him anytime. My best friend called me to wish me well and I thanked her. She also asked if the surgery will happen before the wedding and I said that it will happen the day before but it will last for many hours. She said, "That's all right. Just making sure it doesn't intervene with the wedding, that's all. It's sad we can't have Ben there, my husband. But we'll have you and you can eat and drink for both of you, haha." That's when I told her I won't be able to come to the wedding whether my husband's surgery is over or not because I need to care for him and I want to be next to him until we are all 100% sure he's gonna be fine. She said she understands, but she reminded me that as a MO I have a duty and it's 1 day before the wedding I can't drop out. I said that I am sorry about this but I almost lost my husband and I don't want to leave his side yet. She didn't curse me out or anything but she was very upset and she started crying. She said she understands and wished well again. My husband's surgery went well and we were now awaiting for his recovery. It was the day of the wedding and I called my best friend to wish her well. She didn't pick up. Later I video called one of the bridesmaids and she answered. I asked to talk to Chloe but she said she's busy getting ready. I said fine, I'll call later. I called again and again but no response. I thought she was simply busy with the preparations. I called the day after the wedding and still no response. She wouldn't reply to my texts at all. I contacted some of the bridesmaids and they told me that she's very upset with me for dropping out the day before the wedding and that I should make it work no matter what. Some of them said I did what's reasonable and how my husband's health should be my priority, but some others feel like I let down the bride on her big day and I shouldn't expect a word from her anytime soon. Am I the asshole? Edit. I want to clarify that this is the first time my friend has ever acted like this. We've faced many difficulties during wedding planning but she was always a sweetheart about it and made sure to never give a hard time to anyone. She was actually the most chill bride I've met in my life. There was no way I thought she'd react like this over such an important emergency because I didn't even have previous signs that she'd act like that. Edit 2. I want to add another disclaimer. On the day of the wedding I stopped calling because I figured she'd not reply because she's busy. But later I was also told she was only not replying to me specifically because she was upset. She had taken few calls from relatives who couldn't attend because of distance. She specifically didn't respond to me. One of the bridesmaids also pointed out how it's weird that she never called me to ask how my husband's surgery went, and as a best friend, she could take a couple of minutes out of her day to simply see if everything's okay as well. Never thought about this until my friend, the bridesmaid, mentioned it. So now it hurts way more. NTA. And my heart breaks for you to even have to ask this. You did everything perfectly, dear. If it was her in the hospital, would she prefer her now husband to go to a party or stay and sit with her? Or if it was her husband having open heart surgery, would she have the guts to go out and party knowing what he was going through? I'm so glad your husband's surgery went well and I hope for a speedy recovery. NTA. She's delusional if she thinks her wedding should take priority over your husband's life. I wouldn't try so hard to repair this friendship. Especially since she is creating more stress for you when you're already dealing with a lot. Not the asshole. She seriously expected you to break your vows to be there for hers? ETA, my first ever award. Thank you, kind human. Smile. ETA too wowie. You all are too kind. Heart heart heart. Pretty clear to me that the bride is the heart surgery is a major surgery. Of course you don't want to leave his side, especially to go to wedding. She is incredibly self-centered. I would stop trying to contact her. You don't need a friend like that because she is not really a friend. Hop, your husband is recovering well. This is a case of force majeure, you really have no choice but to drop out. Your husband almost died, and he could have easily died as well during the surgery. It was not unrealistic that during her wedding, you would be starting to make funeral arrangements, to be blunt. This wasn't kidney stones or some shit. This is a serious medical incident. So no, you shouldn't have to make it work. No matter what, you gave her as much heads up as you could. It's a shame it timed out this way, but c'est la vie. Really throwing in my limited French this post, it happens. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Should make it work no matter what? What a bunch of baloney. While I understand she was put in a hard spot, you nearly lost your husband to a heart attack and he has an important surgery. A wedding does not triumph being there for your husband during an important time of need. Her big day isn't more important than your husband's life. Not the asshole. I've been an and cardiac care RN. If you left the day after your husband's surgery to go get wasted at a wedding, my nurse wrinkles would have been popping. Face with raised eyebrow. I had a friend in my wedding party that lost her near full-term baby a week before my wedding. I gave her the opt-out option immediately. That friend is so incredibly thoughtless. WTF. Honestly, don't give her a second thought. I hope your husband recovers well. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for asking my neighbor to move her craft room to a different bedroom? My husband and I live in an upstairs 3-bedroom flat and the flat below us is the same layout. The house has been for sale for a while and recently a woman bought it. It turns out she doesn't have any children, so I found it strange she bought a 3-bedroom house, but I soon found out it's because she runs a craft business from home and needs 2 bedrooms to run it. The problem is, unfortunately, she has decided to use the main bedroom, which is below us, as her main craft room. At first it was fine as she hadn't fully moved in, but now it's driving me crazy. She's in that room almost all day and I can hear her walking about and the faint noise of machines. I don't spend long in my bedroom during the day, but when I do go in it just annoys me knowing she's there constantly. Like, why can't she have picked the smaller bedroom since she knows the kids are at school all day? She always stops using her embroidery and sewing machines by 7 p.m., but she's told me she can sit up until 10 p.m. some nights finishing off orders, which plays on my mind. I go to bed at 9 p.m. and I can't sleep for hours as I lie there listening for her every move. Just knowing she's awake and walking about drives me crazy, as I find it so selfish someone would buy a flat and work from home. My husband says he can barely hear a thing during the day and I need to calm down. He also doesn't see the big deal about her using her house as she pleases. Yesterday I finally had enough and went to her door. I told her how I was feeling about everything and how I can hear the faint noise of her machines. She apologized and invited me inside to show me her setup. All her machines are on some sort of anti-vibration padding to stop as much noise as possible, so she claims the noise should be minimal and that you need to expect some noise from neighbors. I told her I don't make any noise, and that's when things took a turn, as she said she can hear my kids running around and jumping off furniture all evening, but she would never dream of complaining because it's just one of those things when you share a building with other people. I left before I said anything else I regretted, and I thought that was the end of it, but today my husband came home from working overnight and asked if I had said anything to the woman downstairs, as she was very cold and blunt with him when he said hello. I told him what happened and he said I'm a massive asshole. I've spoken to a couple of my friends who think I've handled this completely wrong and I'm a bit of an asshole for it, but I don't see what else I could have done. I find it so selfish that someone would buy a flat and work from home. What? You're a massive aw. She can do whatever she wants in her own home. Or would you rather she sat there in silence on the dole? Edit. You are the asshole because apparently my judgment isn't clear. You are the asshole. Faint noise. Wow, play some music or get a white noise machine. The fact you know what time she does things is creepy. You are the asshole. You can't be serious. It's her house, she is doing everything possible to be considerate. I can't actually fathom that you complained about this without realizing kids make a ton of noise. Honestly at a loss as to why you would remotely think this was a reasonable thing to ask a neighbor. You are the asshole. Yes, a single, childless woman can buy as big of a house as she pleases. Yes, she can use the rooms however she wants, within the confines of any WA rules and the law. Yes, your children probably make far more of a ruckus than her machines. Have you considered getting anti-vibration padding for them? Yes, you have too much time on your hands if you're constantly obsessing about her crafting. You need to go downstairs and apologize to her, then ask for tips on picking up a hobby. You definitely need one and she sounds like an expert. You are the asshole. This is the most neurotic thing I've read today. She shuts her machines off at 7 p.m. but you still lie awake fretting about the fact that she's still awake? Get a grip. Put some rugs on your floor or hang some heavy curtains or something, gee whiz. She's not even being noisy. Also, don't let your kids jump off the furniture lol. I go to bed at 9 p.m. and I can't sleep for hours as I lie there listening for her every move. You're just not equipped for apartment living, which is not your neighbor's problem to deal with. Get some noise-canceling sleep headphones. You are the asshole. Also, you are the asshole if your kids are actually jumping off furniture. YTA. If you don't like noise from neighbors, don't live in a building that shares walls. She's taken what steps she can to keep the noise down. You are the asshole. If she set up a kink dungeon in her main bedroom and flogged people all day, it would be none of your business either. She's allowed to use her home, she's allowed to work from home, and I bet your kids make more noise than her machine does. Am I the asshole, 41M, for kicking my daughter, 19F, out of my house? My daughter recently told me and my wife that she's pregnant, and apparently she's been hiding it for 3 months. The boyfriend is a scumbag who I thought she left after I gave her an ultimatum to either leave him or leave my house, to which she chose the latter, or at least I thought she did. She started sobbing and telling us how sorry she was and that it was just a big mistake. I told her the only way she can stay in our house is if she gave the baby up for adoption, because we won't allow it to ruin her life. She just kept pleading to us that she'll take care of it, but I had a very hard time believing her after I just found out she's been lying to me for months and going behind my back to see her boyfriend. My daughter refused to give her baby up, to which I decided to kick her out of my house, and now she's staying with a friend for I don't know how long. My wife has been incredibly sad and is now telling me what I did was wrong. It wasn't an easy decision for me to make, but I couldn't allow her to walk away without any consequences. At her age I was already taking care of myself, so I don't look at it the same way others might. Is it really wrong for me to kick my adult daughter out of my house after she lied to me? I'm willing to see if I've taken things too far. You are the asshole. You know forbidding your daughter from seeing her boyfriend is just going to make him more desirable, right? And how is kicking her out when she is pregnant, vulnerable and in need of stability and love going to help? Yeah, not great parenting, I would say. Edit. Getting a few responses saying, "Op set his rules and his daughter made her bed. Now she has to live with the consequences." Setting rules is one thing. Kicking out your daughter when she is most desperate is going to be the asshole choice 99.9% of the time. Op is choosing his rules over supporting his daughter. You are the asshole. You say you don't want her to ruin her life. How is kicking your pregnant daughter out a better choice? Letting her start out a homeless single mother because she's refusing to give up her baby is a horrible decision. You think this is an acceptable consequence for her having a baby with someone you dislike? I really hope you're trolling if you can't see this as a massive overstep. Yay, you are the asshole, also not making sense with your reasoning. Don't want daughter to keep baby because it will ruin her life? Make pregnant daughter homeless? Can you see how these two ideas clash? You are the asshole. Have you asked yourself why your daughter felt she couldn't trust you? You aren't trustworthy. You've shown no care, no compassion. You don't get a say in whether your grandchild is given up for adoption. I don't understand what you expected to achieve. How you react in hard situations, and this is a hard situation. Show your character. You've come up short. You are the asshole. The only thing you are doing here is pushing your daughter to hate you. You are the asshole. This is the hardest thing she will probably go through in her life, and you've abandoned her. Women get very sick. Some even die during pregnancy, and you've also made her homeless. This was a very cold and careless way to treat someone I assume you still want in your life. She will never forget this. Your wife is right. You're waving your dick around instead of supporting your child. She will make it work on her own, and your wife will resent you because neither of you know your grandchild or your daughter anymore. You threw her away because you didn't like her choices, and now she's probably even more fearful for her future. Imagine how that feels for a second. You are the one ruining her life. You are the asshole. I'm not surprised she decided to hide her pregnancy for 3 months from what you've said. You don't sound supportive at all, and she is probably scared of you. Giving the baby up for adoption against her will is far more likely to ruin her life than being a mother at 19 would. If I was your wife, I would divorce you over the way you have treated your child. Morally, I think YTA life choice wise, not the asshole. Like your daughter is an adult and has shown zero responsibility with her life choices, so what's to say you and your wife won't be taking on the responsibility of this child when it's born? She waited until it was too late to tell you guys, so she had no options but to have the baby and force her decision onto you. I would have maybe given her more time to move out and get her shit together. If she is irresponsible enough to get pregnant, she can deal with the consequences. Am I the asshole for wanting to move abroad with my adopted daughter? My younger sister went through a pretty rough time as a young adult, drinking and doing drugs and generally being wild. She ended up getting pregnant young and she did not want the child after giving birth. Despite never wanting children myself either, I stepped in and adopted my newborn niece as my daughter. My then boyfriend gave me an ultimatum, him or her, as he didn't want children either. I picked her and he left me, which resulted in me suddenly being a single mother. The first few years were rough as a single parent barely making ends meet, but I managed and my sister had nothing to do with us. I never once hid the truth from my daughter that she was adopted, but always assured her I loved her so much and was her mummy. When my daughter was 6, my sister was finally clean and wanted to have access to her. I allowed it but stressed she would just be an aunt to her, and she accepted this, though it's clear she struggled with the concept and sometimes acted more like a mother, which I always squashed quickly. Now my daughter is 8 and I've been offered a job in a different country. The pay is almost double my current salary, so of course I'm going to take it, but this resulted in my family having a meltdown about how I can't do this and how it's cruel to take my daughter away from her family and how it's not fair to my sister. My sister has told me she won't allow me move away with her and that she'll fight in court to get my daughter back. I've talked to lawyers and it seems she doesn't have a leg to stand on, as my daughter is legally my daughter, but the rest of my family is telling me I'm being extremely cruel, and if I cared about my sister I'd turn this job down. Edit. As I keep being asked this. Yes, my daughter is excited about the move. She's of course sad about leaving her school and friends, but I've been teaching her about the country and letting her try foods from there. She knows she can FaceTime, message her friends, and we'll be visiting. Not the asshole. Where was all this concern over the girl when your sister was putting her up for adoption? Were they helping you when you were a single mom and struggling? Why is it so important now when, if you hadn't sacrificed your freedom, she'd have been adopted by strangers and no one would know her now at all anyway? You take that job and give that kid an amazing opportunity to see a while other post of the world. Asshole. Your sister doesn't get to play mom when it's convenient. You stepped up when she dipped. Now she has to accept consequences that she doesn't have a daughter. You do. Absolutely not the asshole. Assuming that your daughter is on board with this change, and with my recommendation that you make this decision with her input, congratulations on this wonderful opportunity. I hope you and your daughter have the adventure of a lifetime. Nope, not the asshole. You adopted her and are her legal parent. You're not her foster mom trying to integrate her back with your sister. Not the asshole. Giving birth doesn't make someone a mother. When that baby needed an adult, it wasn't your family that stepped in. It was childless, in a relationship, you who sacrificed to meet the child's needs. You're that kid's mom, and if you need to move with her, do it. Not the asshole. You owe yourself and your child the best possible future. Girl, run, don't walk, to the airport and get you and your daughter out of there. If you cave on this, I promise that worse things are to come. My parents adopted my niece when she was 6 months old, and when my sister got her crap together, we had the same battles. Do not tell them when you are leaving. You can Skype them from the new home. This has red flags everywhere. You are not the asshole. Do what you have to do for your family. Not the asshole. I moved abroad with my kids and my family panicked, too. No birth parent issues, though, so slightly easier there. The opportunity was wonderful for my kids. They loved living abroad and grandparents would time visits with school holidays, so they got plenty of time with kids. Video calls was also really great. Go. Enjoy your life. Your daughter will have a great time after a short adjustment period. Growing heart. Not the asshole. I'll never understand why people always give more consideration for the ones that messed up over the ones that stepped up. What would the situation be if you hadn't adopted the baby? Where would she be? This is a good opportunity for you and the child. Take it. Word of advice though. If she doesn't know who her biological mother is, you might want to be the one to tell her. If she finds out on her own, she might resent you for taking her away from her mother, as in moving away. Your situation is much more complicated than a typical adoption because she actually has access to her mother, and a lot of adopted children want to seek out their biological parents at some point. It's a sticky situation.